Hey, welcome to Flipping Genius episode 171. And this week we're going to take a quick look, another look at insurance auto auction, plus an in-depth look at recall considerations. This week at Insurance Auto Auction, our local one, I purchased a 2008 Mazda 6i sedan. Nice little vehicle, with 192,000 miles on it, which most of you know that's nothing to me. Uh, but you know my market. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's got cold AC. It has good tires. It's overall a solid car, and I bought it for $425. Now, you may say, how can you possibly do that? We'll talk about that today. Um, this car should sell ultimately for between $3,500 and $4,000 once the repairs and reconditioning is complete. And today I'm going to walk you through three important processes regarding this specific purchase and show you my technique and my strategy and how it can be duplicated by pretty much everyone who is hearing my voice or seeing my face. And since Flipping Genius is both heard by our local listeners on the podcast, and thank you so much for listening, and seen by our subscribers on YouTube. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm going to do my best to talk about what you're seeing, so that I'm sharing what you're seeing with the people who aren't seeing it. So forgive me if I'm not perfect at. We're getting better and better at it, I hope. And like I said, I encourage every listener who's listening to the podcast, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know I listen to a lot of podcasts too. Every now and then, I want to go watch an episode because they're sharing a screen. That's what we're going to be doing today, is sharing a screen or sharing something else, or there's videos that aren't shown on the podcast because it's something that I can't transition. So I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type in, just go to flippinggenius.com, our website, and you'll be able to find links to all this, and also put links, of course, below. And there'll be links to anything I mentioned below, including the websites that I'm going to suggest and show you and suggest that we use during today's episode. One of the key issues that we will be dealing with is just frankly a matter of law. It's a significant and potentially a liability to all of us, especially to those who are licensed used car dealers in the United States. So please be sure to stay tuned or check back or do whatever you have to do to listen to the part where I talk about that next step of research, which we're going to be talking about recalls. It's very, very important. And if you can't listen to all of it today, save it and please listen to it later. If you can't do that, send me an email at flippingquestions@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to explain it to you. Very important that everybody know about this stuff. In addition to this being a liability, I want to also say it's an opportunity. And you might not have saw that one coming, except for if you know me. That's how I see things, and it's absolutely an opportunity, and it's largely why I was able to buy, a $4,000 vehicle for $425 this week. And I'll show you what I mean by that and talk to you about what it means like that, in case you can't see. And I think we're going to help you make some more money, because that's the number one goal here, right? So let's take one little pause here. I'll be right back. No commercial. Be right back and share more about what happened this week. Pretty cool. So let's start at the beginning, where each week, or at least most of the weeks, my weeks start with some research. And in this case, my initial research is on the insurance auto auction site. And the chances are, especially if you live in the United States, there's an IAA location near you. I think they have around 200 branches now in the United States alone. And if they're not near you, there's probably a similar operation near you. Maybe not as close as there is to me, but probably there's a good chance. So I'll walk you through my research. And again, I'm going to try to balance this out for those of you who are watching and those of you who are listening. So if you're watching, I'm going to try to do a screen share. Now, each of us have our own target, or we should. I mean, you can't be all things to all people. In my particular situation, I target passenger vehicles that I ultimately will sell for between $2,500 and $4,000 to the consumer. That's my thing. Occasionally, I deal with one for more or less than that range, but it's not my intention as I do research. And my research with Insurance Auto Auction can start one of two places. I could visit the local IAA branch, which is less than 12 miles from me, or I can go to their website. Now, frankly, I always start with the website because the local branch is very restrictive, and I believe all of them follow the same rules, very restrictive in the access that they permit me, or anybody, not just me. I believe that the access is permitted for 4 hours per week, here only on Fridays. The auction generally happens on Monday here locally. And on Fridays from 10 o'clock a.m. till 2 o'clock p.m., you can go in and look at the vehicles. They have hundreds of vehicles on the site, so you want to be organized when you get there. The vehicles have been sitting for a long time, and most of them will not start without a jump box. And they do not allow jump boxes. I tried to take a jump box in and tell them it was a part of my cardiovascular help to jump me in case I pass out, but they didn't buy it. I have contemplated taking a small one in, and I know some of you probably do that, but technically they don't allow that. So you've got vehicles that won't start, and if you do get it to start, you're not allowed to move the vehicle. So the information you'll gain is minimal, and it's also very beneficial to have your list identified so you can find the vehicles that you want to see once you get there, because there's hundreds of vehicles, and if you don't know the specific spot, you'll be lost and just waste your time. I'm pretty sure that all operations within the IAA system are run the same way. And I'm not trying to designate or denigrate IAA. This is just how they do it. And frankly, I think they are pretty well organized. Inside, the staff has always been exceptional. Titles are ready and they're accurate as soon as I pay. And they're always very cordial. And the outside staff is the guy with the forklift is always like watching some kid who's really good at video games. I think it's a job that he loves, whipping around there and dropping your vehicle. He dropped the one. He was ready to drop the one yesterday before I could get back outside with my title. So that's how efficient they are. And he stayed and waited because he could see that my tow vehicle wasn't ready for it because I wasn't there to direct it. But boom, he had it on there in no time flat. So they do a nice job, and the vehicles are always well organized, but there are a lot of them, so it's much better if you have a list organized by location on the lot when you arrive. And it might take you one or two times before you figure out the system, but they're real helpful in directing you there too. So due to my not even being able to make it to the branch last Friday, and generally I don't go that often because I don't find the information that valuable. My research started and ended with didn't end. It started with IAA's website, which is and you can look this yourself, IAAI.com. And the first thing I did is I signed in, and once I was there, I I found the upcoming auction. So I'm going to try to do a screen share now so you can, if you're watching YouTube, you'll be able to see what I am talking about. So next I open up the week's auctions. In this particular week, this is the upcoming week as of today. So in Huntsville, Alabama, they'll have 156 vehicles available. Here's how I sort them. The first thing I do is I go here and I sort, and again, I apologize if you're just listening. The first thing I do is I will sort by the run number, which means first to last. I want to see the first vehicles first and the last vehicles last. So this 2001 Acura MDX will be the first one on the block that day, apparently. The next thing is I'm going to also sort, just to narrow this down. I like to only buy vehicles that run and drive. So that's down to 102 vehicles. The next thing I like to do is I'm going to look at the title. I only like to buy vehicles with clear titles. So that gets me down to 54 vehicles because 48 of them were salvage vehicles. And then I'm just going to look and see who can buy these. And those same 54 are available to dealers, which in this auction, it is only a dealer auction. So you have to either have special licensing, like a rebuilder, a scrapper, an exporter, or you have to be a dealer. And I only want to look at the vehicles that are dealer vehicles. So this is the first thing that I do, and you can see there's 54 vehicles available, and this is where I start. So I'm going to click on, let's just for fun, I'm going to click on this first one. I take a look at each vehicle, and if you're watching right now, you can see what I can see. This is a 99 Acura, and you can see it shows you all of the pictures on this Acura TL. Chances are, if they're at the auction, there could be something wrong with them. It does tell me that this is a charity donation. This may be a vehicle that I attempt to buy next week, because the vehicles that we're dealing with, unfortunately, are already sold, so I don't have those here to show you. I will later show you what I dealt with. So this is what I'm looking at. They give me what's that, 12, 13 pictures. They'll let me see the engine and hear the engine run. That's what we're going to see here next. And that's, the engine is running, because it is a run and drive. Chances are it's an Acura. There's a good chance there could be a transmission issue, but it only has 168,000 miles on it. So I very much like this vehicle for next week, but that's neither here nor there. And I'm telling you guys, so you'll probably come bid against me and cause me great problems. I always wonder about that, but I know most of you aren't in my backyard, and it's not worth traveling across the country to buy a 1999 Acura TL, and it may not be what is in your bailiwick anyway, so I don't worry about telling you too much about what I do. But we're going to talk about the research that I do beyond this. So I'm going to take out quick breaks just so I can get better organized. And when I come back, I'm going to show you my exact research papers that I used, and I'll talk you through that too if you're listening. But I'm going to show you the system that I use. Some of you have seen it before. Some of it you use it now because of being a flipping partner or a flipping team member or a flipping champion and working directly with Middleman, my company, in the Flipping Genius system. But I'll show you exactly how that works in my handwriting, so you can see exactly what I was dealing with this week. And I'll walk you through in case you're not able to see, so you know exactly what I was thinking. So we're going to take a little break right now, and when I come back, we'll go into that and show you how we found the right vehicles to bid on and take you through the next steps, hopefully, towards our progress. So I showed you how I sort down to vehicles that I am potentially interested in. Um, so that got me, and in the example I showed you here, I think there was 52 that were on the list. This past week, I think there was just about 200 vehicles available at the Huntsville branch. And I think it narrowed it down to about the same, right around 52, 54 vehicles that I had a potential interest in. But the next, before I go further, I sort out the ones that I just don't have. I just don't want and for that means for me that means ones that are already overpriced. There are already bids on a lot of the vehicles, especially if I'm looking on a Monday morning, like I was this week at about 4:30 or 5 in the morning. There's already somebody who has bid on these vehicles since the last week or even that morning. And they're already gone past what I think is a reasonable bid. And there were a handful of those already. They may have too much damage for me. It could be an insurance damage that doesn't fit with what I want to do. I don't see any upside potential. There was a couple of vehicles that were just too old, as far as I was concerned, to make any real money on. And that's not very common. And I may get around. Well, I will get around to give you an example of one that I considered despite the age, but you'll see how I consider that. The sellers who I don't trust. There are a handful of those, and sometimes it's just somebody I don't know, but usually it's somebody I do know, and I know that they're smarter than me, and I need to stay away from this one because it's being sold at an auction. That means I probably am not going to come out the winner on that one. You learn the hard way on that, but I've gradually learned. Still make mistakes, but try to learn from those. Vehicles that I don't want due to my experience. Now, few episodes back, we did a episode just talking about vehicles that I say don't buy. I've got my own ideas on that. I shared it with you. A lot of you agreed with me. Some of you voiced others, but I stay away from the ones that I should stay away from, especially the ones that Dennis Johnson and my mechanics tell me to stay away from. I take that to heart. It took me a while. I did a lot of stupid things and bought a whole bunch of Cadillacs, but I stay away from those. So based on my experience, I don't want them. Vehicles with too many miles. Now, a lot of I drive around in a vehicle that's got 360,000 miles on a gas engine, but that's not what I'm looking for. If they got over 300,000 miles on a gas engine, I don't think I can usually sell them. I won't absolutely not buy one if it looks good. And if it's a diesel, that's a whole different thing. But generally, get up around 280,000 miles, something like that. I'm probably going to just stay away, even in my market. And you may think I'm crazy, those of you who are listening and do nicer cars, but this is just what I do. And that gets me to the vehicles that I don't want because they're outside of my method of operation. So that's basically it. So that allowed me to zero down and take a look at just the vehicles that I was interested in, and I believe there's 8 of them. Let me share the screen again. So we took the almost 200 vehicles that were in the auction last week. I pulled all the ones out based on the things I just told you about, and that left me with just 8 vehicles that I plan to bid on. Now I'm going to take you through those 8 and walk you through why I bid on the ones I bid on and what the results were. I'm going to start at the top of the list, and I'll go over the things that I look at. Number one, I go to and if you listen to past episodes where I now analyze my work at an auction, I have talked about all the things that I look at in the car. I go over the body, the tires, the interior, the mechanical, the overall, and when I'm looking at a car like this, I'm basically assuming a lot of the worst. I don't think that, although I can see the vehicle, and for instance, like this first one we're going to talk about, the OA 2008 Mazda 6, it looked good. Everything looks solid, but I assume it is at best fair. And that gets me in the right mindset to make a profitable bid. So in this case, if you're watching the screen, I'm going to go through line by line. You'll see at the top, the run number was number 14. So out of from 1 to 200, this was the 14th car to be bid on. So pretty early. It's an '08 Mazda 6i Sport sedan, value edition. So that's a VE. Has 192,000 miles. Um, and again, I'm not going down and breaking down each vehicle. If it didn't make the cut, that meant that it had excessive body damage, or I found something mechanically that I just did not want it. So these are the ones that made that cut. You'll see over here, it's a 4-cylinder automatic front-wheel drive, has a clean title. And in this instance, it was a repo by Title Max, which is a title pawn place. That a lot of my vehicles come from there. When I did a breakdown of this vehicle based on those miles, I came up with a private party fair price of $2,700. Now, if you look that same vehicle up, you're going to find that I'm probably about $300 off of private party fair, maybe even more, because I'm very conservative on this. I always prefer to err on the side of being conservative. So down here where it says off, that means offer. This is my number. The most that I would give for this car was $550. Now, I don't think I'm going to show you the breakdown of what that would mean. Well, unless I have it right here, which I don't think I do. So at $550, I believe that comes up to about $950 after fees. So you have to factor in what your fees are going to be when you're making these bids. So that $550 factors in everything I was going to have to pay insurance, auto auction, and then my other fixed expenses that I factor in whenever I make a bid. So my number was $550. That is what I put into the system, $550. That was the most that I would pay. I'm going to go over these other vehicles just so you can see. There's a 2007 Ford Edge that I was interested in. You can see that my top bid was $575 on that. The next one was a 2001 Chevrolet Adventure van, and my top bid was $175. A 92 Buick Riviera. I said some cars are just too old, but this only had 109,000 miles on it. So I said I'll go up to 150 bucks, which sounds ridiculous, right? But I'll show you what happened. 03 Mini Cooper. I do not like Mini Coopers, but people do like them. If I could buy it right, I would buy it. My top bid, if you see over here, was $400. I prepared to enter all of these numbers in. I pre-bid, meaning that I put my top bid in pre-bid a lot of times, because then that allows me to take the emotion out. This Ford Fiesta, 2013 Ford Fiesta, $400. And you can see my private party fair price here. Yes, I am leaving a lot of room, but I am in this to make money. So if you think I'm crazy like a fox, because the numbers come out right on my end. A 98 Honda CR-V with right wheel drive, kind of a messed up car, offered by a company called CarBrain, which I believe is might be a donation company. 150 bucks was most I was going to pay for that. And then lastly, a 91 Toyota Camry that ran pretty good. It had 206,000 miles on it. It was a charitable donation car, which I've had good luck with. But still, it's a 91 with over 200,000 miles. So not a lot of upside potential, but I'm willing to pay 150 bucks for those. So I'm not worried about buying every single one of them. Obviously, my cost is, so I put a bid in for, I try to put a bid in for all of them. Let me show you what happened. You see my codes over here, and these are just codes I write out by hand. You can use your own codes. A lot of the guys that are using my sheets, and this is part of the Flipping Genius car flipping system that we put in your hands when you become a flipping team member or a flipping partner or a flipping champion that you've heard me talk about. So the folks who are using this system, they're using our system plus their codes might be a little bit different. So this check over here means that I was winning the pre-bid. Two checks is going to mean that I won the pre-bid, and X means I was outbid in the pre-bid. So the auction starts at 9:30 in the morning my time, and I want to make sure that I am recording this. Yeah, I am. So at prior to 8:30, I have to get my pre-bids in. I did. I got all these pre-bids in. But for instance, this Chevy Venture van, where I would only pay $175, they went past my pre-bid before I could bid. Same thing on this 03 Mini Cooper. They went past my pre-bid. And the same thing on the Honda CRV. So I wasn't able to actually get a bid in on any of those. But I did get a bid in on the Mazda, which my bid was $550. I bid $575 on the Ford Edge. I bid $150 on the Buick Riviera. I bid $400 on the 13 Ford Fiesta. And those were all the bids that I was actually able to get in. By the end of the pre-bid period, which ends at 8:30, I usually try to get mine in pretty close to the end. So I usually win the bid if I'm in the lead. By the end of the pre-bid, the winning numbers, where are those at? There we go. I got the winning bid right here. You can see them if you're watching online. I won the. If you can't see me, forgive me. I'm looking, and this is all available on the YouTube channel. I won the pre-bid on the Mazda 6. I won the pre-bid on the 07 Ford Edge. I won the pre-bid on the 92 Buick Riviera, and I won the pre-bid on the 2013 Ford Fiesta. So all four that I was in the lead on, I did get the pre-bid, which is usually the case because I'm usually entering my bids within less than 10 minutes left. So it's possible somebody can outbid me, but usually not. Some of them bump up prior to the end of the bid because somebody else has entered a higher number in and they've outbid me. Now I say try to get the emotion out of it. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like if you look at that Ford Edge, I actually started off by putting 475 in there, but 575 was my number. So that meant 575 was the highest number. But if we go back to that one, you can see that although I won the pre-bid at $575, I was outbid during the auction, and it was an if bid of $875. If bid means the highest bid in the auction was $875, but it did not meet the floor, meaning the seller did not have to accept that. And usually what they'll do is come back and counter that. And I don't know if they did or not because it wasn't my if. But that's why it's got an X here. That means that I did not win that car. $875 was the high bid, which is $300 higher than what I was going to do. So I just move on. Emotion is not part of the deal. I don't know what they bid on the Chevy Venture van because I did not get a pre-bid in, so they didn't tell me. On the Buick Riviera, I actually did win. I won the Buick Riviera and I won the Mazda 6. My bid of $150 was the high bid on that Buick Riviera. And the Mini Cooper sold for $900. The Ford Fiesta sold for $900, meaning it wasn't an if bid. The Honda CRV had an if bid, I believe, at $275 and $225 on the Toyota Camry. I know those numbers because I was watching the bidding live. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what the number was because it's only shared with somebody who's watching live or with the high bidder. So I hope I'm not just rambling crazy, but I'm trying to walk you through this. And any of you have been to a car auction knows that this is how you have to think. You have to think on your toes. So it's easy for me to walk through this and recreate it. But let's get right down to brass tacks. The two vehicles that I won during the auction were the 2008 Mazda 6 I Sport VE and the 1992 Buick Riviera with just 109,000 miles on it. Decent looking vehicle, ran very well according to what I saw, and had just a little bit of damage to the left front headlight, fixable, and looked pretty solid for an old car. But 150 bucks was as much as I wanted to pay because I did not see it selling for more than $1,500 really. I wrote private party fair price at $1,300. So next thing I do is wait to see what the sellers will accept. Within a couple hours, I got a counter offer on the Mazda 6. They wanted to bump it up to, I believe, let's see if I'm trying to read my own writing. I'm sorry. I believe they wanted it up to $675. I came back and countered at, I am not raising my price. I said, sometimes I'll raise my price up to my initial high, which was $550, but they don't know what that is. So I just said, nope, I'm the high bidder at $425. I'm staying at $425. And on the Buick Riviera, they came back and said that they would take $300 for it, which might sound pretty good. But you have to remember, when I bump it up by extra $150, I'm $150 over what I wanted to bid. Plus, I got to pay additional fees over that because those fees escalate as you go higher. It's not a lot of money, but it's the difference between making money and not making money. And we're doing this to make money. So I said in that instance also, I'm staying at $150. The folks with the Riviera ultimately declined my offer, and it will be available again next week. And I may bid $150 on it again next week, and I may get it this time. If they find out the same guys after it and nobody else is bidding, they may just say, let them have it. Usually you don't get cars for $150. And even if you bought it for $150, it would still cost you probably $400 by the time you picked up the car because of the fixed fees that are there. However, the 2008 Mazda 6 I Sport sedan, good looking vehicle, runs very nice, good tires, cold air conditioning, good glass all the way around. It's been sitting a little while, and we may find a couple things wrong with it, but haven't found anything wrong with it yet. My bid of $425 was accepted, and I did pick that vehicle up yesterday. That's the star over here. And I took it to Dennis to get checked out. But I had to do some more investigation on this one, and I'll tell you, what I found out is probably why I was able to buy it. I'm going to stop the share now so you can see my big smiling face. So I'm going to tell you what I learned outside of the insurance auto auction site, some very valuable stuff. And I'm going to, I don't think I'll do the screen share on that. I'm just going to walk you through it. So let me close this down, and I'll be right back with the rest of the information on what I learned on the Mazda and how you absolutely need to do this next step, no matter whether you are a licensed dealer or not. But if you're a licensed dealer and you're not doing this next step, you will be out of business soon. I hate to tell you that. I'll be right back. If you're not watching, what you need to do to this next step is to go to our website, flippinggenius.com, FLIPPINGENIUS.com. And once you get there, this is what you're going to see. You'll see that my beautiful face here, and a rare opportunity to see me wearing a suit. I'm about 40 pounds lighter right now, but that's a whole nother story. And from here, from that initial page, you're going to want to go down to right here and click on our resources. And once you get to the resources page, you are going to, from here, you want to go down to more great stuff. takes you down to the bottom of that page. And here you're going to go down and see the NHTSA site. Now, you could go directly to NHTSA. You can search that. But I want you to come to our website because we've got a lot of good stuff. There's a ton of other things on this resources page. But just click, when you click on the NHTSA site, you can enter your VIN number right here. And then they will tell you if there are any open recalls on your vehicle. I think this may be the vehicle that we're actually looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And no, it's not. It said this is a different vehicle, but when I clicked on this one, it saved a 2003 Lincoln LS. And when I did this, you see it had no open recalls. This is very important. When I found it had no open recalls, I shared this with my customer. They signed a form that I had disclosed this to them, that there is no open recalls, and I have that in my records. This is actually part of the law, I believe, across the United States, not just in Alabama. So if you are a used car dealer, you should absolutely be receiving a form from your buyer saying that your vehicle either doesn't have any recalls, or if it does have recalls, what those recalls are. They can purchase the vehicle in most instances, despite the fact that there's open recalls. However, there are some instances, number one, that you do not want to release this vehicle to somebody, and number two, they shouldn't want to buy it until it's done. Now, I tell you all this to say that unfortunately, in my instance this week, that is exactly what we ran into. We ran into a open recall that really needs to be repaired before we sell the vehicle. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit. So on this Mazda, it has open recalls on both of the airbags, the driver's side and the passenger side. And the recalls say that the airbags could explode, and flying metal shrapnel could cause injury or death. This is actually what it says, both on the NHTSA site and on the Mazda site. If you look up there, the VIN on the Mazda site, says the same exact wording. Now, Mazda, of course, will replace these airbags for free. And I already have an appointment set up with the Mazda dealership. We'll take them down there. They'll replace both of those for free. I'll have the vehicle back with brand new airbags, and I'll have the paperwork showing that this airbag issue, this recall, was taken care of, and give people the peace of mind that they will know that it was, and then I'll have them sign to accept that. Very, very, very important. I mean, honestly, I'm a little nervous of even driving the car to the dealer reading that, and probably won't. I'll probably tow it over there and have it done. But absolutely key. Now, not only is that key to selling the vehicle, but it's also probably key to why I was able to buy the vehicle inexpensively, because we don't live in a vacuum. There's other people out there that know what I know, and they may have done this research before the fact and didn't want to mess with this. So it probably knocked a couple of them out of the mix. So it took a couple of people out of the buying thing. The other thing is the seller, in this case, the title pawn place, they probably knew what they were selling and knew that they had an extra hurdle to jump to sell this vehicle. So by getting this repaired, being willing to work with this, I was able to buy a vehicle that probably will sell for $3,500 pretty quickly, maybe as high as $4,000, depending on how good we make it look when it's done. And I was able to buy it even with expenses for my total outlay was, I think, $763 if I look at my paperwork here. Yeah, $763 is my total outlay for the vehicle. And then, of course, I'll have some other overhead that I'll add to that for the title fees and the overhead for my lot and things. So probably have less than $1,000 into it before repairs. I doubt if repairs are going to cost me $500. So I'm guessing maybe a $2,000 profit on this vehicle, probably pretty easily $1,500. And at the same time, I'm assuming a lot right now because we don't have a report back from Dennis. But assuming everything comes back the way that it should, a very nice vehicle for a end user, good transportation, probably for another 100,000 miles if they take care of it, and win-win-win, which is what I'm always looking for. So in your investigation, your research needs to be beyond just what is there. You need to research your recalls. You can also, going back to that page that we talked about, you can also go and investigate if the vehicle had been stolen, because we also have a link on our site to the NICB, which is the National Insurance Crime Bureau. You can also do other if you want to do Carfax, you can. We use Check That VIN, and Check That VIN cost me about $3 to check, and I can tell how many owners it's had, if it's had any outstanding trouble, flood problems, any other issues with accidents or other incidents like that. And all that stuff's valuable. The more money people spend on vehicles, the more money they want in the background. But that is optional. What's not optional is know your vehicle's recall information. Because if you don't, I'll just tell you a quick story. Right here in Alabama, a small dealer like myself in Alabama sold a vehicle. I think it was late last year. Sold the car. I doubt if it sold for more than $5,000. It's the airbags actually exploded and killed a young man, and the young man's family sued the dealer, and needless to say, they sued for millions and millions of dollars, and that dealer is no longer in business. I don't think they got millions of dollars. They got some money probably from the manufacturer, but the dealer is just flat out of business. And I don't mean to sound short-sighted or harsh, because certainly the young man, I hate that for his family, but I can't affect the end user. I can affect you. Get on top of this stuff, guys. Let's get these recalls straightened out. Make sure you know your laws in your state. I'm telling you a law that is effectively enforced across the United States, and we need to take care of it. We've talked about it before, but it's in effect right now. It's happening right now. So that's what happened this week at the auction. That's what happened outside of the auction. Vehicles at Dennis's right now being checked out to find out if there's anything else we need to do, and an appointment is set up so that we can take it into the Mazda dealership and get both those airbags repaired. And hopefully in about 2.5 weeks, we'll have that thing ready to sell. And 3.5 weeks, I'm not very aggressive turning them around, but that's me, not you. But it'll be ready to go, and we'll feel 100% good about it when we sell it, and we make sure the paperwork is signed correctly and that we have paperwork in place to protect ourselves from any future lawsuits and from state investigations. It's got to be on file so that you know that you're doing everything right. Hey, if you are a member of the Car Flipping Forum, please join. It is free to join. Just go to Facebook groups, type in Flipping Genius. The first thing you see will be the Car Flipping Forum. You also see our other groups. We'd like you to join your group in your local area, but absolutely join the Car Flipping Forum, and then share your ideas with others there. Learn how to make more money, share how to make more money, share your questions, share your experiences. If you'd like to be on a Flipping Genius episode like some of our other members have been on, please write to me either there or at flippingquestions@gmail.com, and I will answer you and possibly set up a time when you and I can talk like this on a future episode of Flipping Genius. If you are not yet a subscriber of the Flipping Genius YouTube channel, please do. Our goal is absolutely to rise above the 1,000-person threshold, and we are quite a ways off still. Despite having about 1,000 people in the car flipping forum, we're not there yet with the Flipping Genius YouTube channel, which has hundreds, well over 100 videos on there. And I just invite you to come. It's very important to me, and it's very important that we grow that. Now, you'll find some other information there. We're gradually splitting the Flipping Genius YouTube channel into 3 parts. I won't talk about the other 2 parts. If you're on there, you'll see them. And I apologize if it's information you don't want to know, but it's information I want to share with the world. It's good stuff. Nothing that you'll be offended by. But over the course, today is August 2nd, 2023, just for record. So probably by 2 weeks from now, all that stuff will be gone, and you can just ignore this little comment that I made. But please join please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please save us as a favorite. Share us with anybody that you know of. And as you've heard me talk, we offer an opportunity to work with our company to try to help you make more money. That's the #1 goal of Flipping Genius, is to help our listeners make more money. And the way we do that is through information like I shared today, and with hands-on, one-on-one conversations to help you make the right purchases, because you make your money when you spend it. We've said that a zillion times. It's absolutely true. And it doesn't matter what market you're in. We believe we can help you make better decisions there. And then down the road too, to help you. A lot of times we're just a sounding board. We think a pretty smart one that can help you make the right decisions as you grow your business. And you'll see, if you go to the website flippinggenius.com, you'll see how that works together. We don't ask a lot. We want to help you make more money. It starts with the podcast and then goes to everything else we do. Hey, thanks for listening so much. Let's work together. Let's make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses.